Welcome to Story Time with me, Miss Sheila. I hope you're having a wonderful and beautiful day. Today's story is called Going Places. Victor Hugo Green and his glorious book. So it looks like they're touring. So let's find out about it. Once described as tall, well built, always impeccably groomed, Victor Hugo Green seemed to walk about with a smile inside. Oh, with sunshine inside and plenty of pride. What's more, he's not only believed in facing a problem, but also in doing something about it. That's from a New York newspaper's travel section called Going Places. And don't you know, Victor Hugo Green had great get up and go. That great get up and go must have made Victor Hugo Green a prime wonder at his good, steady job. It had him on the move a lot. In his sharp blue-gray uniform, bell crown cap perhaps upon his head, and with a big, some days bulging no doubt, satchel over his shoulder, he likely stepped lively up and down New Jersey streets, first in Handlesack, then in nearby Little Leonia. 1, 2, and more days a week, Victor Hugo Green flipped open mailboxes and rang doorbells, bearing packages large and small, letters thick and thin, magazines, catalogs, along with ugh bills, and I'm guessing postcards too. Maybe from faraway places like France, where he had served the United States as a soldier during World War I. Maybe from cities within the states like the Windy City, the City of Angels, or Beantown. Perhaps also from the bustling Motor City. Victor Hugo Green kept delivering mail in Little Leona after he and his lovely wife, Alma, moved across the Hudson River to the city where he was born. There in the Big Apple, the couple made a home in Harlem with, with its world of black folks. Cooks, carpenters, clerks, teachers, preachers, actors, entrepreneurs, and Augusta Salvage, a sculptor in bronze, in plaster, in clay, and in marble. Travel loving Langston Hughes, much applauded poet, Dapper Duke Ellington, band leader and composer, and the trailblazing Dr. May Edward Chin. Harlem was soon home to brainy, backslapping Thurgood Marshall, a civil rights attorney. Hmm. Such folks were keeping their chins up during these days of the Great Depression, when a lot of businesses, like ice cream shops to clothing stores, closed when so many people lost jobs in the Windy City, the city of Angels, and Beantown, and other cities too. As for the Motor City, it sputtered along, producing sedans, roadsters, coupes, all different types of cars. When more highways and turnpikes being built, with smart automakers slashing prices and shifting gears to less costly models, heaps of Americans were going places behind the wheels of their very own or like new motor cars. So this is like an old time car. These travelers were cooks, carpenters, clerks, teachers, preachers, actors, entrepreneurs, and Augusta Savages, Langston Hugheses, Duke Ellingtons, Dr. May Edward Chins, Thurgood Marshalls, and Victor Hugo Green. Traveling on business to Boston or Baltimore, to Chicago or Charlotte for conferences, conventions, to weddings, graduations, family reunions in Rock Hill, Rockaway, or Richmond. Traveling to all sorts of places and some of them resorts, like the Bay State's Oak Bluffs on Martha's Vineyard, like Idlewild, the Great Lakes State's Black Eden, like Chesapeake Bay, Highland Beach, found it by Laura Douglas and her husband Charles, a son of Frederick Douglass, who was an abolitionist. People made sad trips too. Mama, Papa, big sis, little brother, a cousin, and an auntie, or an uncle was doing poorly. Grandma or grandpa had passed on. So, showing all the different why people travel. These travelers were going places with smiles or with tears in their eyes. Could face hassles, humiliations, hardships, even bodily harm, because Jim Crow segregation was intense in the North, South, East, and West. Because legions refused to see black people's humanity, people had to worry about sundown towns too. In sundown towns, black people may have been free to walk about when the sun was out, but say to deliver goods or to work or as a maid or in a mechanic shop. But come nightfall, no colors after dark. So read a sign one man recalled seeing in an Illinois town for years. Well, that's just off. Going places could be especially trying for those most frequent of black travelers like catchers, pitchers, basemen, and fielders for the Philadelphia Stars, the Kansas City Monarchs, the Homestead Grays. Duke Ellington and other greats and not so greats entertainers were sometimes on the road for weeks. The troubles of traveling while black were not new, and black people were not clueless about what to do or when going places. They used their brains to navigate unfriendly, hostile, dangerous terrain. Thanks to ads and articles in the black owned newspapers, the Pittsburgh Courier, the Chicago Defender, the Louisville Leader, the Call and the Post in Cleveland, and the New York Age, the New York Amsterdam News, they made maps in their minds of safe, happy to serve you places to stretch their legs, to get a good night's sleep, grab a cup of coffee, a chicken and waffle dish, a cheeseburger, or partake of a five-course feast. Through word of mouth, they learned about sundown towns and how best to steer clear of them. So they really had to figure out which roads they were going to take and where they were going to stay and how they're going to do different things. Victor Hugo Green was really vexed by the problems he and his people could face when going places. Inspired by earlier guides, including ones with black travelers in mind, he got busy problem solving. From the grapevine, he grabbed gobs of information. He pored over newspaper ads and articles. He tapped his fellow blue gray garbed brothers for tips. So, see, there he is making a plan and researching. Super South Victor Hugo Green had fashioned his findings into a book, and it became a highly prized guide, known far and wide as the Green Book. Wow. So he made a directory for Black people to be able to travel and feel safe. The Green Book started off small in 1936, just a pamphlet, just listings of welcoming places in New York City and nearby towns. So it kind of looked like that. It's showing the stuff. But 2 years on, the Green Book, 25 cents a copy, was more than 20 pages long, listing safe, welcoming places in large cities east of the Mississippi River, and it kept growing. So, and that probably was one of the covers. In 1940, the 48-page Green Book listed places in the District of Columbia and in big cities in every U.S. state. The Green Book now covered far more than friendly places to lodge and dine. It listed welcoming places to get a new hairdo or a tailored suit, places to get an oil change or a tire fixed, places for tapping feet and snapping fingers to get some beats. Wow. People snatched up the Green Book at newsstands, in bookshops, and in libraries. They ordered it by mail. Esso gas stations happily carried the Green Book too, and the glorious Green Book kept growing and growing and growing. In 1951, a special edition on traveling by train. In 1953, there was a special edition on traveling by plane. By then, the Green Book was catering to folks eager to travel outside of the States too, say Canada, and maybe Mexico as well. Also, by then, enterprising Victor Hugo Green had his own travel agency. While growing his book, Victor Hugo Green, with his great get up and go, was still going 1, 2, and more days a week across the Hudson River to deliver mail in Little Leonia. That is, until his retirement was announced in the Big Apple Sunday News on a winter day in 1953. It says, retired mailman goes to work on his own. Wow. Folks in Little Leona said the paper had sent him off into retirement with gifts. Cash was $436, a gold watch, plus a traveling bag. Now I can spend all my time getting out my annual Negro travel guide, said Hugo Green. And there he goes traveling. He's looking at his watch and carrying his travel bag. It was 5 years later in the Travel World column of the New York Age's travel section, Going Places, that Alfredo Graham wrote of Victor Hugo Green as being the problem solving type. Graham also told readers that in producing his book, Victor Hugo Green had himself been going places. To date, he has the distinction of visiting every state in the Union. And there is the article about him right there. What's more, Victor Hugo Green constantly kept tabs on sites, especially hotels, because he insists that only first rate places deserve a listing in the Green Book. And there you see him and his wife traveling. As much as Victor Hugo Green loved his book, he yearned for the day when it would be no longer needed, when ugly, hateful signs came down, when all across America, hotels and motels, inns, cottages, campsites, cafes and diners, and fancy, fine restaurants welcomed everyone. The day towns, sundown towns ceased to be. Yeah, because that would be very disturbing to see all those signs saying that colored people are not wanted or only whites and stuff like that. It's very mean. Victor Hugo Green did not live to see that day. He died in 1960. But 4 years later, on July 2nd, 1964, millions of people in their homes, at their jobs, on the road, celebrate the dawning of that day Victor Hugo Green had longed to see. Owing to speeches, boycotts, marches, and other acts of activism on the parts of adults and young people over the years and the efforts of President Lyndon B. Johnson, America had a mighty civil rights bill. And there is Martin Luther King, because that's the speech he did, I Have a Dream. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed many terrible things. One was the unjust treatment of people who, by train, by plane, by motorbike, by ship, by boat, by bus, by camper, by car, were going places. Were Victor Hugo Green alive, surely he would have flashed a big old sunshine smile. And then they quote Victor Hugo Green, there will be a day sometime in the near future when this guide will not have to be published. That is when we as a race will have equal opportunities and privileges in the United States. It will be a great day for us to suspend this publication, for then we can go wherever we please and without embarrassment. But until that time comes, we shall continue to publish this information for your convenience each year. Victor Hugo Green in the 1948 Green Book. And then this just gives the timeline and stuff. Is that not incredible? Thank you, Victor, for allowing an opportunity for people of color to be able to travel and just be able to enjoy themselves. Until next time, it's me, Miss Sheila. Hope you keep turning your light bright. And if you see a problem, try and solve it. Okay? Okay. Bye for now.